Welcome viewers to this edition of Oral News Flash, Oral USA History Documentary. Today's edition, we have in our midst the fourth president of Oral USA in the person of Chief Sir Dr. Fidelis Ezewike. With me to interview him or chat with him is the current National Secretary of ORA USA, Mazi Austin Ofoha. As you all know, I am Deacon Charles Anomodo, the Emeritus National Secretary of ORA USA. Before we proceed, I would like Mazi Austin Ofoha to say a word and Dr. Ezewike to greet our viewers before we go into the discussion today. Mazi Austin Ofoha.
Good morning, viewers. I'm glad to welcome you once more to today's interview with Deacon Afire, the patron of ORA USA. I promise it's going to be worth your while. Deacon is known to be a past president and the custodian of ORA USA history. So we'll be going down memory lane. He will be sharing a lot with us today. I encourage you to watch attentively, and you're going to learn a whole lot. Thank you, and welcome to this program.
Okay, can we have a word of greeting from Dr. Ezewike before we proceed?
Greetings to all of you. Honorable Charles Anomodu and Honorable Austin Ofoha, noble secretaries of this organization, past and present. It is a pleasure for me to be here to be interviewed about the history of ORA USA that I am only aware of. Not those that started before me, but when I joined ORA USA as a member of ORA USA.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. That brings us to the first question of, at what point did you join ORA USA, and what do you know about the origins of ORA USA by the time you joined from those who were there before you?
Well, I will always give honor to whom honor is due. I recall before 2000, Dr. Nwadike approached our organization and told us after we formed the organization.
Which organization?
ORAUSA,
okay.
South Florida. Dr. Nwadike, Emmanuel Nwadike, he approached us, he told us we need to have an association here in South Florida. We moved into forming that association and succeeded in forming that association. And he went on to tell us that he would like for us to be a part of the ORA USA umbrella, that we need to be a part of it. Well, they sent out 3 delegates to ORA USA, and that convention was in Chicago. I believe it must be 2001 or 2000. I'm not very sure.
2002.
2002. We came to Chicago. We met all the affiliates that were members at that time. I really didn't know any of the players, but we came to the convention. We enjoyed and we liked what we saw. I came back to South Florida, and that's when, we expressed our satisfaction to the convention of our members, and all of us agreed that we would be a member of that organization, which is ORA USA. I will not be able to recount when the organization, ORA USA organization, started. I cannot give you any information about the origin of ORA USA because I am not one of the participants at that time. So giving you any information, it will be hearsay. So what I know is when we came to Chicago, we became interested. Our first convention actually after Chicago was in, I believe it was in Houston, Texas. It was in Houston, Texas, when we formally requested to host the ORAUSA convention in South Florida. And the next one was in Michigan, when Emeka became the president of ORAUSA. And from there, we went to Dallas during a convention. And no, it wasn't Dallas. But anyway, that's what all I know right now, all I can recall, how we joined the convention or the organization during the convention in Chicago.
Thank you for that candid answer. Can you adjust your camera a little bit or your screen so you'll be okay?
That's better.
Okay.
That's better.
Okay. So, Mazi Austin, do you have any question or follow-up for Dr. Ezewike on that?
Yeah, Dr. Ezewike, you, from the first time you were at the convention in 2002 in Chicago, were there specific things that impressed you want to highlight that made you your association to resolve to be part of our regional assembly? Any specifics you want to remember?
One of the things that actually attracted us to the convention is the union of all our brothers from all over the country. That was, the main point. And also we saw some dignitaries from Nigeria also, which included our former governor of Imo State, Achike Udenwa, His Excellency. And the way everybody interacted with each other, the way, everybody were filled with joy, the way issues were being discussed, the way, the camaraderie, the sense of belonging, that's really what attracted us to be part of the organization.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now, I know you were first elected vice president before you became president. Can you recount your experience on those two elections, first as vice president and second as president? Where and when did it happen? And what was the nature of the election? Was it smooth for both offices? Thank you.
Well, my deacon, I wouldn't want to, recount on the election atmosphere because it wasn't really a pleasant one. The organization would have gone separate ways. But as God may have it, that didn't happen. There were a lot of fracas at that election in Dallas, Texas in 2009, I believe. And when I became the vice president, there were 4 candidates that ran for that same position as vice president. And I emerged. And my total count of vote was more than 3 of them. So that's when I know that ORAUSA really want me to be their vice president. That's when I went to work for ORAUSA. That's basically my second, that election really gave us that convention practically made us believe that we can do more. My president was Chris Onwuzurike. He's a very, very fast thinker. I, myself, am a doer. I think and I do. It's also a doer. We looked at the convention, including yourself, because I think you were, one of us when we first started. Yes, you won that election too. Was it, yeah, I think you were there.
No, I joined on your second term.
Oh, you joined on my second term, okay.
Yeah.
So during the first term, we looked at the overall convention atmosphere and what went on in Dallas. We felt that we need to modify how this convention is being held. Well, as far as the financial is concerned, Chris put on his thinking cap and he came up with how the proceed will be divided. I guess with the formula of 50, 25, 25. 50 goes to our project to avoid the organization to continue to tax our affiliate organizations for the project we have. So 50 will go to that project and 25 will go to the host affiliate and 25 will go to ORAUSA. That was the brainchild of my predecessor, my boss at that point, Chief Chris Ezewike, and he has actually taken ORAUSA where we wouldn't have been, to be honest, because taxing people could be very, very destructive to the organization. And as you see, there is no more taxing of the affiliates. The convention is where we, receive our finances, and it has worked perfectly well. I want to thank him for bringing that. Outside of that, we did a lot of creative things. In my office as a vice president of ORAUSA, I made sure that we have a system where all our people will be recognized. If you're passing by, I look at you, I know exactly your name because you're wearing your tag. That's when the tax system started. And also we want everybody that enters the convention to see, you don't need to know who is this. We had a tabletop names on the table for all the officials. We created one for the board members. We created one for all the officials and the board members. When you walk in, people are sitting on different chairs. If you look at their desk, you will know that is Chris Ezewike, president of ORAUSA. You can look at the next person, or that is Fidelis Ezewike, his vice. You can look at Charles. I know you weren't there then, but this person, Charles, you look at the name, you know what they stand for or what office they're occupying. So those are the systems we put in place. At least I haven't seen that since we left office, and since when I became the president, we continue with that pattern. And also people wear their tag immediately they come to the office. That system started in New York. That was our first convention. We continue with that system, moved to Washington, moved to, I believe the next convention after Washington was Philadelphia. And then we ended up coming back to Miami for the second, the election that brought me into presidency. Just those systems were there, and they continued. So basically, those are the things that I can point out about my election to the president and the vice president. Those, my election as a president could have been very, very destructive because there was a lot of politicking. There were a lot of, I wouldn't say nobody committed any election fraud, but the election was tough. But I won with only 2 votes. Because, people were made to, have their choices. That's when we felt like, after that election, we believed that it would not be necessary for people to be having such elections if you are a vice president for so long. Because our organization organization supposed to be, brotherly and supposed to be nourishing to all, affiliate members and also to all executive members. So after the election, I put on my thinking cap. I thought about a lot of things that I promised that I would do for ORAUSA, which I accomplished most of them. I find a way to get a lot of people involved. I admitted 2 or 3 this thing. North Carolina was admitted into our affiliate. I believe some other affiliates came in too. I can't remember them right now, but our history is there. We'll be able to find out the year they came in. So basically, I made a lot of money for ORAUSA. During my vice presidency term, my superior, my predecessor, who is Chris Ezewike, was handed over a project to accomplish. And he did that, he accomplished, he started the building at the technology center.
Yeah, we'll come to projects. Let's
okay. So
proceed.
basically, we made enough money that we didn't have to go back during my presidency to ask any affiliate to tax their members to bring money. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mazi Austin Afoha, over to you. Any questions or follow-up? Can you hear me? Are you muted?
So you did ask.
Sorry about that. I muted myself. I have a follow-up, Dika. Yes, I happen to be in Miami, Florida, the Marriott Biscayne Bay Hotel in 2014. Was it 13? 13, yes.
2013,
when you were first elected president. I saw it as a very healthy competition, and I was impressed that people were not just beginning, but there was a lot of interest in ORAUSA affairs and leadership. And I think that that convention attracted a whole lot of people because it was election year, and of course, Florida being a destination, a tourist destination. And I must commend you for your courage after the outcome of that election. But what I want to find out is, I did notice that after that, some of the contestants, those who ran for that election, were no longer showing up in ORAUSA conventions and activities. And I want to find out, did you make any effort? What effort did you make to reconcile all the parties involved to build a very vibrant ORAUSA? Of course, ORAUSA continued to grow, but until recently, I noticed that many of the participants, the actors in that very 2013 convention, stayed away. Would you want to explain what happened?
I would want you to mention names because I wouldn't know the participants you're talking about. Because those you're talking about were occasional convention attendees. So if you mention the participants, then I'll be able to, explain to you, the efforts I made to reunite, to bring them back to the organization. But I didn't think we lost anybody except my fellow contestant. But if you have any other person, you can ask me, I'll be able to explain.
Okay. Let's leave it at that. What happened? Did your fellow contestant, who this time I remember, that is Anya Wotutu, Dr. Okorafor, beyond the election, was there any effort on your part to bring her back? I know the other professor that became the treasurer also, Some of them, either for logistic reasons, were not forthcoming, but I want you to shed light. Did you make any effort to reach out to them?
You know, this is a very, very good interview, and you going back to the election of 2013, but innuendos are not really good for interviews. I will
It will
put
be
it that
edited,
way.
sir. It will be edited, sir.
I would like you to mention names so that I'll be able to give you, very, very clear understanding as to the process I went through to make sure ORAUSA continue to, march forward, not really leaving any family behind, because that has always been our focus. No family left behind. But you see, there's much you can do to get people to be involved in what you're doing. You can make a phone call. You can also, your phone call can be turned into harassment.
Yeah, I think, can you hear me?
So you're trying to avoid that.
Yeah, I think I think he's talking about your main opponent then, who
exactly.
didn't show up until this year's convention.
Yes.
Okay.
So I mean, when particularly her, because that's the only person that I noticed that is significant, because she ran for the election. It's not like she was like a big contributor. She was in she had a committee, and we're trying to put her back into that committee. She rejected. I also could not continue to call her, but shortly after that election, she got married.
Yeah.
During her marriage, during her wedding, I wasn't invited as the president of ORAUSA. But what I did was I created a movie clique. Her pictures, all the photos that I could get from every of her, is it
social media?
Yeah, Facebook or something like that.
Okay.
I put it together, joined and I put a very, very nice music and sent to her. It's just a warm, congratulations. We are happy for you. I know I wasn't invited. I didn't say I know I wasn't invited, but you cannot go to a wedding that you weren't invited. But at least I sent her a gift from my heart and say, I am happy for you. That is actually an olive gift, you understand, to make somebody come back to the organization. That's what that was. But I cannot really, honestly, continue to call her and it turned into harassment. I will not do that.
Thank you, Dika.
Thank you
for reaching out to everyone. Mr. Chairman, sir.
Okay. Yeah, Mr. President, looking back on your time in office as president, who were the major players that worked with you in your administration, like your executives, the board of directors, and some committee chairs you can recall that helped you to achieve the goals that you set out for your administration?
Well, I had several of them. And for example, you one of my key players, so to say. You weren't a lawyer, but you played mostly lawyer for us. We did have a legal advisor. Derek Obialo was a legal advisor. But my vice president was also very, very active. And you particularly was very, very helpful in the administration. We have the secretary as, what's his name again? And
George.
Not a George.
Akonna.
George Akonna, yes, yeah. That's his name. We had as the secretary, Christy wasn't actually, no, she wasn't in my administration. We also have, where do we have? We have Chid Wameme. Yeah. Was he part of our administration?
Yeah.
Chid Wameme as part of our association. We also have Basil. as part of our administration, we have Ifani Ezewike as part of the our association. We also have Chidi Onyeneku as the financial secretary. We have
treasurer. Treasurer.
A treasurer rather. And that's somebody that gave us a very, very difficult time because he wouldn't want to send out if we send him a check to sign, he will keep it for a very long time. Sometimes he would tell us he'd not receive a check. He would just want to stall the organization. The check were really necessary, for us to move ORAUSA forward, but he would not refuse to sign it. And the second time, he was booted out from the office. I believe after he left, Stanley was the financial secretary.
Yeah.
Who took over? Charles, do you remember who took over from Onyeneku, financial secretary?
As the treasurer.
Is it this guy from New York, Gochukwu?
Gochukwu, no, I don't
think. Financial secretary.
Well, our record will show who was, but I can't remember because it was a two-term that
one term
flipped and
he was in one-term treasurer. I mean,
yes. So let me go right into the.
That's like you also had a Ifeanyi Nwunze in your executive.
Yeah, he was the PRO. He was the PRO. Yeah, in our executive. Yes. So basically, those are the people, our executives. But let's move a little bit to the most people, actually the committee members. We had several of them. We have Obilom as the medical mission chairman. We had also Onebu as the medical mission director. With Dr. Obokri, co-jointly.
Late Dr. Obokri.
Late Dr. Obokri. We had Agunwai. No, not Agunwai. We're
Akwechama. That's
Akwechama as the lady chairman of the women wing. We have Dr. Orji, Christopher Orji, who was responsible for the fundraising committee. We had who else we have, Charles? We had this guy, Dominic Amechi, as the park leader.
We also had Dr. Pauline Enwere as assistant.
Pauline Enwere came in as assistant secretary at the letter, when Okechukwu Obo left. We had somebody else that co-chaired this thing. No, I also had some people that were against me as the committee members, such as this guy from New Jersey. I haven't seen him.
Wait, you appointed them and they were against you?
Well, yeah, I appointed them, but I know they will not do it. They cannot. I will never fail because I know I have strong people working for the organization. So basically, all of those people I appointed from the other side of the coin on their own, left without even announcing it. So basically, I cannot remember all of them. We do have we do have convention templates, or rather a convention list of officers from one term to the other. I think you all can fill in the other gaps.
Okay, thank you. I want to ask you a follow-up question because you mentioned Chief.
Let me make sure I mention Ernest Ndukwe.
Yeah.
He was one of the members of the committee. Yeah, we also had this guy from Washington as as one of the executive, I think in financial.
Was it Joe Ben?
Joe Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also had this guy, Dr. As the chairman of the our discussion club. What do we call it again?
Okay, breakout session.
Yeah, breakout session.
Okay.
I don't know why I forget their names, but you know they don't.
Was that
the one that works with Joe Ben? No, the one that works
he used
with
to work with. Joe Ben was working with him.
Was it Professor Friedel?
No, not that one. That man, I can remember his name. I can't remember his name, but
Aguboku.
Okay, Aguboku.
Ben Aguboku. Dean Aguboku.
Yes.
Was the chairman of the breakout section. We also had one person that I'm missing, very critical, Emmanuel Oji.
Yeah.
Okay, the treasurer.
The committee chair for all the committees.
Yeah.
He's the one that reports what happened in the committees to us. Because he gathers the information and come to the meetings and say, this committee is doing this committee is doing this committee is doing this. We also had Basil. Not Basil. Frank, as I believe he was the chairman of the planning and the project committee.
Frank who?
Francis
Ibezim. Okay.
So those are people that we had in offices that helped us to pilot whatever we did, to a successful end. Okay,
thank you, sir. I was going to ask you a follow-up question about the Women Committee. Before your administration, that committee was chaired by someone other than the First Lady. But during your administration, you changed it to make the First Lady the chair of that committee, and it has remained like that since then. Can you shed light on why you took that decision at that time?
Okay. When you're working with women, it's very, very sensitive. So you have to make sure that you have total respect for those ladies. And those ladies in turn should also have respect for you. So during my first term, I had her there, and all the first ladies of all affiliates, including the first ladies of ORAUSA, she will call meeting, and they will get to the meeting, and she will not be there. And they will wait for her. So because of situations, and she felt like the program is her creation and is her own, she has ownership of that committee. I looked at it and said, no, we have to do something different, because this is an office that all the first ladies of all affiliates are members of, and all the first ladies of the ORA presidents, they were members of it. So now we need to look at it differently. First of all, I'm trying to replace her with other women, but I rather realize that it would be best to ask my wife to be the chairman of that group or the leader of that group. And I brought in the vice president's wife to be involved in it. But I made somebody different, this lady, our current first lady, the secretary of the group.
Lolo Titila, your name.
Yes, the secretary of the group. Okay. Believe me, after I did that, the running of those women group became very, very efficient and became very, very successful, and the relationships are growing. and people start recognizing the fact that the office of the First Lady should be entangled into the ladies group. And that's what I did. And I'm glad that I did it. No regrets.
Thank you. Justin Afua, do you have any question or follow-up?
Well, again, it will look like this follow-up is following the same pattern. I want to believe the First Lady in question then was Mrs. Akwechiama.
It was
Yes.
not a First Lady then. You mean the chairman of the Women Committee?
Or the chairperson of the Women Affairs Committee was Mrs. Akwechiama. Surprisingly, Dikoha, that what you did was indeed a revolution, and it gave meaning to the activities of ORA Women Affairs. And there's been a lot of progress. They've created a lot of other activities. In fact, it's the dominant committee in ORA USA now. But again, I noticed that thereafter, I do not remember seeing Mrs. Akwechiama in ORA USA activities. I'm not sure she was in Baltimore. Maybe somebody would correct me. So I was going to ask again, beyond replacing her, was there anything like telling her not to be active in ORA USA again, or was it of her own volition?
Well, I didn't just remove her from the committee. What I did was I asked her to be a technical advisor to the committee. That way she will still be playing the same role that she's playing, by relinquishing the role that the First Lady should be playing. I gave her that honor to be the technical advisor. And when I announced that my selection, because you see, the president has the right to select a committee leader. I didn't select it when I got into the office because there were a lot of issues in Houston against her. I was written by Houston president to remove her. I did not want to do it because somebody is asking me and pushing me to remove somebody from the office. I want to do it when I find a reason to remove her. Because the bottom line was she was still a member, the husband was still a member of the affiliate, Houston affiliate. And that being said, our organization is based on family, meaning the wife and the husband and their children. So when I looked at the whole scenario, I was not ready to make that push at that point. So when I got to the point that I need to make that change, I did. And when I did that, I gave her still the right to be the technical advisor to the committee, not telling her to leave. When she didn't attend their meeting for 2 or 3 times, I called her. I said, you're not attending, you're not participating. And she just said, listen, I shouldn't call her about that situation anymore. But I still remain friends to that family. I still, talk to her. I still talk to her husband. So I didn't really distance her from, and I couldn't possibly tell a member of ORA USA not to be coming to women meeting or coming to convention. I wouldn't do that. I am a family-oriented leader. As far as ORA USA and his affiliates are concerned, I want to see everybody at the convention. I want to see everybody be a participant, not to alienate anybody for any reason at all. I wouldn't do that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. So moving forward, Austin, are you okay with the answer? Okay, Austin, I muted you because of your background. So if you want to speak, you can unmute yourself.
That's all right, my chairman.
Okay.
The question, I'm okay with the answers to the questions.
Okay.
Well, I know there's a part of your question I didn't answer. When you mentioned the board, I needed to bring them into this conversation because
Okay.
there were the board member during my vice presidency term was Aloy Emejuru.
Yeah.
So when his term was up, I brought in Lawrence Eburu as the chairman of the board. He was the next person that is actually, supporting him is this guy from Austin. What's his name again? Keep forgetting their names. Also, the guy from Austin, who
is that person? As
the board secretary.
Oh.
And Chidi Nwameme was their treasurer. No, not Chidi. Chidi Nwameme was the parliamentarian.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Okay, I've forgotten that guy from Austin.
Nze.
Is it Emeka?
Mba. Nze.
Okay, go ahead. We'll remember.
When we get up, we'll remember his name because he worked very hard. He made sure that our organization moved forward. He was the person that conducted the second election, our second election as the chairman, and actually he was very, very active, extremely active. So, and that's the board. After the second, they left from office. Lawrence left because of his appointment at the governor's office, governor's PA, and also Lawrence left. I had to. They conducted the election. That's when this guy emerged as the chairman. Chidi Nwameme emerged as the chairman. The secretary was Simon from Austin, and the parliamentarian was Nze Dixon Ezala from Miami. So that's how it went, and they also played their own role. So it was all successful roles that they played. And I thank them for being a major player in my administration.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now, let's look at your achievements of your administration. What were the most remarkable achievements of your administration during your first and second terms? Which projects did you complete, and which ones did you start but did not complete?
The one I started was, remember I told you when I get into the office, there was an agreement to have park, but it was in paper. We didn't have a committee set up for it. Neither did we have a chairman for that committee. So immediately I got into the office, that was one of my, 5-point.
Sorry, Dika, when you said PAC, I guess you are talking of ORAUSA People's
ORAUSA Political Action Committee. The letter changed the name, but that was the name at that point.
Yeah.
So
it was the advocacy committee.
So basically, when I came in, there wasn't a committee, but there was a paper to have such committee. So I got in. That was one of my, five-point agenda. So I organized the group. I brought in Amechi. I brought in this guy from New Orleans. Actually, my nephew was the secretary at first. Steve from New Orleans wasn't. It was okay.
Steve Ezewike.
Yeah, wasn't the secretary at that point, but my nephew wasn't attending meetings.
Who is your nephew?
August Austin Onyejaka.
Oh, okay. From the
those
church?
are the three founding, members of the park. But every affiliate brought in a member to represent them. But those are the executive of the park. So Amechi wasn't calling meetings either. And I needed that to really be functional. So one day, when Amechi get into the conversation, he started playing politics.
Is it Dominic Amechi?
Dominic Amechi, yes.
Okay.
Dr. Dominic Amechi, Dr. Dominic Amechi.
He
started playing politics.
Yeah.
He wants to go after this politician. He wants to go after that politician. That wasn't the purpose of the park. What the purpose of the park for us to be agitators of good governance in Nigeria. So along the line, when Steve became the secretary, I made a trip to Nigeria. I engaged Oluzurume youths. 4 of them came to my house. I entertained them and gave them money and told them that I would get them in touch with Steve Ezewike. So, okay, let's go. Let me mention Romanus
Waza.
Waza was
the one
secretary of board.
Okay.
That's the person about that time. So I just want to make sure that your record captures him.
Okay.
So it was a good administrator for us in the board committee. So I engaged the children, the youths in Imo State. So, and came back and engaged them when Steve Ezewike became the chairman of the committee. The first trip Ezewike made, they have invited me to come to their launching and their it's not campaign, but they did
rally.
It's not a rally. They did a launching.
Okay.
And I gave them my own personal money, and they invited me instead of myself going, because I will be representing the ORA. We gave Steve Ezewike some, financial benefit, and also this guy from New York, Dr. What's his name again? I keep forgetting these people's name. Well, their secretary was Dr. somebody in New York. So we gave them money to go.
Is it George Hakam?
George Hakam, yes, that's him. Okay. We gave them money to go to that event. And I kept working from my office as the president, working with the youths, Oluzurume youths. They wrote us one time and told us that the governor, was it Rochas, want to move our university, move the university to somewhere else. We got the youths involved through the park. We also got, did a publication in Nigeria to stop that action. And he did. He stopped the action. That is one achievement that I think I did as the president of ORAUSA, making sure we have a functional PAC group that are involved in agitation movement. Now, another project that I think that we were very, very successful in we didn't start it, is the completion of the technology center and also the furnishing of the technology center. Actually, the building was roofed before my presidency, but the roof was leaking and we had to redesign the structure, remove the roofing, redesign the structure, and completed the building, and it was launched during my presidency at Olo during one of our summits. So that's an achievement that I think my presidency brought to the organization. My achievement also we continued medical mission in Nigeria. We had, at the time, we had 3 medical missions, and at the time, we went on a medical mission. The only time that we have gone to medical mission in May, because we didn't have medical mission the previous year. We went to medical mission in May, went to medical mission in December, 2 times in a year during my term, and captured almost 5 local government areas, or either 5 or 6 local government areas. So those are accomplishments that we did. And also,
I thought you had to go in May because we ran out of medication during the December medical mission in Owerri, Nkwoji, and Aba. When we ran short of supplies, we now had to order more and went in May. Remember?
Yeah. Yes, we left. We couldn't finish 1 year because we ran out of medication, and we had to go back in May. Not only go back to do the little that we did, but we go back and captured more places during that May period. But I don't think running out wasn't really. I don't think running out was my term. I don't recall, but I know that we had that episode of running out of medication.
That was 2015.
Okay.
December.
2015, December, yes, we ran out and we have to go back 2016, May. And the reason why we ran out, it was because not really, because we thought that Ebola will not bring a lot of people to come to the medical mission. So we underestimated the crowd. So we had to go back to make sure we accomplish more in May.
You're right. The response was overwhelming from the local populace.
Yes.
They turned out en masse to benefit from the free medical mission.
Yes. Right. Thank you for helping.
You're welcome.
So basically, those are the things that we did. And also, during my term, we made sure that we don't really contest for presidency anymore, unless the person is very, very bad. If the person is bad,
you mean the vice president?
If the vice president is bad, we look elsewhere. But if the vice president is very, very, people's person and very, very, hardworking, we promote him to presidency without, having somebody challenge. Because he had a lot of challenges, actually, my vice. But we made a lot of, what do you call it? We had a lot of meetings with the contestants and explained to them that we don't want to destroy our organization. We want to move forward, and we want to make sure that everybody, understand that we don't need to destroy ourselves because of election. So if somebody works hard as a vice president, we should be able to allow that person to proceed to the, ascend to the presidency. So I don't recall any other. I think those are, we're talking about 4 years term. I think those are enough. And we made a lot of money. We had, when I left office, I left over 200 and something thousand after actually achieving the building. I had my first convention, the governor of Imo State gave us $20,000 Was it my first convention? It was in New Jersey.
Yes, that was in Eastland, New Jersey.
Yes,
yeah.
$20,000. And also the Hope Uzodinma came to that convention also and dropped $5,000. A lot of people came in and gave us money. I made sure that our proceeds, or rather our expenses, will be less than our revenue, so that we will have enough for people to share the money and get enough money. And I made sure I achieved that. I negotiated a lot of hotels, big hotels, with less, that charge us less. We had all our conventions were in all 5-star hotels during my presidency. The first one was in New Jersey. It was a big hotel, and I accommodated all of us. The second one
was in Renaissance Hotel, Eastland.
Yeah, Renaissance. You remember, man? It looked like you've been keeping record more than me.
You're welcome, sir.
Well, so we went to, and the next one was, I believe, New Jersey, right?
That's New Jersey.
That was
New Orleans. It was New Orleans. Yeah. New Orleans. Well, that's where I was supposed to be having the second election. But, you know, the hotel was one of the best hotels in their downtown. And I negotiated it to very, very cheap. And all of us know how much we paid. So I negotiated that hotel as cheap as possible. And the next one was Austin. Austin hotel wasn't that fancy, but at least we did negotiate it reasonably. And the next one was big too, Chicago, a big hotel in downtown. And we did achieve a lot in there, and we paid less. And we made a lot of profit out of that hotel. Sometimes when I go to the convention during my time, and Charles knows that, I make sure I negotiate the food very down. I make sure I negotiate everything reasonable, because I'm looking at my pocket. I don't want to leave. I never wanted to leave a convention spending more than making more. We want to make more money than we spent. And I achieved that throughout the 4 years. And one of the good things also, during when I get out of office, the election, the audit did not find any fault in any of my my period. And I thank you guys for that, because you guys were also member of my team. So I'm very, very proud of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mazi Austin, do you have any question for him? Or follow up on
yeah, well, I wanted to ask about the conventions Deacon organized, but in the process, he has already spoken about those conventions. I don't have any question now.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. President, we will go on to talk about your predecessor and his own election. How did it go? Was it, I believe it was smoother than your own. So what do you have to say about that?
His presidency did not receive any contest because it was designed that way. I made sure that I intervened with the people that had interest. I didn't tell them you cannot run, but I simply explained to them, you know, we want to continue to be great. And the only way to be great is to recognize greatness. And if you're great, you can wait another time and we'll recognize you. You can start by being the vice president so that you can, be able to be great and know exactly what we do in ORAUSA. But if you come from outside and jump in, it may take you 1 year or 2 years to learn, the strategy being used, because you don't really know anything, and you probably will hurt you more. I experienced that through my vice presidency with Chris, and it helped me a whole lot. I didn't have to change a lot of things. I changed a little because all of the things that I want to put in place have been put in place either by his ideologies or combined with my ideologies. We can make sure we have a better tomorrow. And that's what we did. Chief Chris Onwuzurike, Akanchawa of Aba. That's what we did. We worked together to make sure we achieve greatness. And I believe greatness was achieved during our time. And I took that and moved to presidency. And I inculcated Tony to understand what we're doing. You know, I taught them, I taught him exactly when I go to negotiation, I bring him in. He sits there during negotiation to know how to negotiate during his term. Although his term was actually interrupted by, what do you call it?
COVID.
COVID. But yet, he was able to use other means to make money for ORAUSA. He's a great leader, and I enjoy working with him. And it was, my pleasure him succeeding my presidency without any contest. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. President, that brings me to a question we asked your predecessor. And let me meet Austin.
Yes, please do. I can mute myself.
Okay. So, Mr. President, we asked your predecessor about this issue, and we want to hear from you about it. You mentioned how you discourage other people from running against your vice president. Some people then interpreted it to mean a body system or a cabal that chooses who becomes what in ORAUSA. But those of us who were in the inside knew that those people that are being called cabals are the people that have the interests of ORAUSA. So I want you to comment on that issue and what role it played going forward, or what role it will play. It is playing going forward in ORAUSA. Thank you.
I don't want to put down any leadership in the past or in the future. But learning the hoop of presidency is nothing to write home about. You can't really come from nowhere and believe that you lead an organization as big as ORAUSA to success. You fail some areas, maybe succeed in some. I can tell you right now that I have seen that in the administrations that I wouldn't say that were before us. Emeka wasn't the president, and we can actually attest to how his conventions went, although they were good to the standard at that time. But being a president and going ahead, a vice president going ahead and becoming a president gives you added, ideologies as to how you can better the organization. So I personally don't have any reason to call anybody cabal. They didn't do it for me. I was already a vice president, so I worked hard and made sure that whatever I did, was beneficial to the organization. So if I have friends that saw that goodness in me, that wants me to be the president and worked hard to support me, I don't think there's any reason to call them cabal. And it's a bad thing for a president that worked with a vice president and know the strengths of that vice president will go against that person becoming a president. I don't think there's any reason to call that president a cabal because he wants his advice to succeed him. It's a natural thing. You see goodness in people, you reward them. And that's what ORAUSA is all about. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that answer. Before we take some closing statements, I would like to ask you what advice you have for the current and future leaders of ORA USA. What direction do you want this organization to go? Where do you see ORA USA in the next 10 or 20 years? And what should they be doing to achieve that goal?
You know, I'm not just a past leader of ORA USA. My discipline was in organizational leadership. I'm also a certified leadership consultant. So leadership is embedded in my person. I cannot, based on the talents that we have, I strongly believe that we go bigger places. But the only advice I will give to upcoming leaders or present leaders is to make sure you do your assessment. Do the assessment of what your organization is all about, where they came from, what's the performance rate in the past organization or conventions. Use the ideologies that you've gained in the past to make decisions for the future. Any leader is supposed to review their environment, look at their competition, think about the sustainability of the organization. Because when you think on the line of the sustainability of the organization, you will not be making the decisions for today. You make decisions for today and for tomorrow. You can't, because you are the leader, you make decisions that will actually benefit your organization. Not thinking that you got to think futuristically about what will benefit the organization at the long run. Let's say, for example, you can't have 500,000. You know that convention will not be bringing that 500,000 every time. You know that the period that you are in may be tougher than the future, or may be less difficult than the future. You just think about today. You look for what will happen in the past. You see, organizations consider the natural disasters, sickness, the whole 9 yards before they make decisions. And our leaders should be thinking in that line. What is it that I'm doing right now that was not done before? Is it for the best interest of the organization, or will it worsen the organization? Because whatever you do during your term may get to hurt somebody else. Like I said, I always give Chris the credit of making sure that our organization is in the right place. If he didn't do what he did, immediately he came in as the president to actually get that vote on the this is split, the revenue split, 50, 25, 25, split. We should still be asking the organizations to continue to contribute. But no organization will be thinking about contributing anything except paying their dues every convention, because his thinking, his ideologies and thinking faculty moved us to a better place. So that's what we call leaders, thinking for the future. And he did. And I thank him for that.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes.
Mazi Ostinafaha, can we get any closing statements from you before I round up? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you immensely, Deacon of Deacon Affair, for sparing your time to honor this interview. You have actually lived up to your billing. You are indeed a repository of knowledge when it comes to ORAUSA. I want to thank you for sharing your weight of experience, taking us to the memory lane.
Yeah.
And thanks for your optimistic projection of ORAUSA and your candid advice to present and future leaders. Want to believe that moving forward, the leadership of ORAUSA will take into account your advice, and ORA will be better for it. Thank you. And thank you, our viewers, for listening. I'm sure you would have gained a whole lot of insight into the history of ORAUSA. This is to inform and entertain, and also to encourage us to remain committed to the vision of ORAUSA. Those who started it actually believe in it, and that has shown in their commitment. Again, thanks for listening.
Thank you. Mr. President, before we leave, do you have any closing greetings for our viewers?
Yes, I want to thank all the viewers. And also, first of all, I want to thank the both of you for bringing me in and listening to me as to the concerns of ORAUSA future, and also past and present. It is an honor to have served ORAUSA in the capacities that I have served them. Our viewers, I just want you all to know that ORAUSA, it will continue to be great. We have great and talented individuals. We have very, very humanistic individuals that people think about others first before themselves. The way you guys contribute to the ORA Fund, your views of ORA, you're going to conventions, you're being, very, very interested in what ORA does and what your affiliate is doing is very, very, commendable. I want you all to make sure you get a take home that your leaders are always thinking more about the future, because our future is more important yesterday. Tomorrow is greater than yesterday, and we have to think and make reservations to meet the demands of tomorrow and next year. That's what our leaders should be thinking about, and I believe that's what we think about. And I thank you all for listening. I thank the organizers of this forum for inviting me. It is my pleasure to be speaking before all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Dear viewers, there you have him, one of the oracles of ORAUSA. We started by saying this is a documentary of the origins of ORAUSA, and for the first time we have talked to a president that wasn't in the first convention in Atlanta, which shows that we're making progress. We're building on the experience and the history that started from the beginning, and every president comes in and builds on what was there before him. The next, watch out for our next interview with the next president that came up, that succeeded our guest today. So I hope you all join us then. I wish you all well. Thank you, and thank you.
Charles, do send me a copy of the tape, please.
Oh yeah, I will.
I will make a documentary. And I thank you guys for inviting me.
Okay.
And you all have a wonderful day.
You're welcome, my patron.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you.